Hello and welcome to the show. We are back on Forza Horizon 4, building another vehicle to take on the Needle Pass hill climb. The vehicle as voted for by you guys today is the GMC Vandura. Yes, the mighty van is going to try and tackle the course. I don't think it's going to be massively fast, however, well, we're going to give it a try. Have seen fairly fast ones, although they tend to be all-wheel drive swapped in various classes. For this series, I'm not allowed to change the driveline, which means we will have to be running this as a rear-wheel drive Vandura. A plus point is likely to get a lot of power in it. Downside is it's likely to be very heavy and not handle very well, which is, not particularly great for going up a twisty mountain road. Big tyres at the rear, or big enough tyres at the rear, actually going to be 295s all round. It's not the worst size tyres. I mean, ideally you'd want a little bit larger, but yeah, it isn't the worst. But we aren't going to have to worry too much about the, about the parts, because you will get every handling part you could imagine, and every handling part that I could need on here. Would love to run it with the A-Team style bumpers, however, we cannot, because any hope of getting some grip from the aero is worth doing, basically, because it will very much be a case of fighting with this one. We might well swap the engine. I'll come back to do that a little bit later. In fact, I'm fairly sure we will have to swap the engine. While the standard engine in this isn't too, it's not too bad, it's not going to be up there with the engine. It's not going to get to the A class, I would not expect. It'll probably give us 200 or 300 horsepower when we're going to be needing more than that. We're going to be needing more than that. Down to £4,100. I mean, it's still a heavy old van. Still a heavy old van indeed. I mean, I guess we'll see what the standard engine's got some sort of magic to it. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. I'm not even going to bother. But actually, an easy way to check is if we go, yeah, so we can get every single. The standard engine is not going to get 700 horsepower, I can tell you that much. We can get whatever engine we want into this. We can have the 6.5 litre V12. It is slightly heavier, and of course, no more room for upgrades. We can have the 8.4 litre V10, or we can go for the tried and tested 6.2 litre V8. I think I'm probably going to stick with a V8 in this. The V8 is slightly lighter. We might try and keep it naturally aspirated. If we keep it naturally aspirated, I might be able to get it under £4,000. I will go and swap the. Ooh, it was always likely to do a big old jump in. Actually, does a massive jump in PI. Just bugger all to the actual. Huh. It's peculiar. I think I'm going to want it just because I don't trust the standard box. Right, let's go and try and save some weight in here with an exhaust, and we are now under £4,000 with the Vandura, which is, I mean, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not as heavy as the bloody Iron Knight that we ran up here, so it's got that going for it. I like how that reduces handling. And it reduces launch acceleration. Don't quite know why, but there we go. We'll get us up to 578 horsepower with that. We did exhaust. Did we do this? No, we didn't. It's going to be most. Christ, we might actually need to put on. Not quite. We're not far away actually from needing to turbocharge this to get the PI in it. There we go. 649 horsepower, 500 torque. That's a lot of power and a lot of torque in the Vandura, and of course we do have the full-on racing tyres all around this, which is nice and everything. And we'll even sneak in a driveline upgrade as well. Can we get the clutch? Nope. I mean, it's a lot of power, which, yes, will be good for acceleration, will be good for launching it up a hill somewhere. Handling, as much as it's got race tyres and everything, handling is a massive, massive concern. If we can do even a half respectable time with this, I think we'd be doing quite well. Well, I'm not 100% sure I'm ready to take the Vandura up the Needle Pass, but we are here on the start line, ready for our first of 3 runs. I mean, the fastest car up here, the S2000 is a 127.4, which I doubt we're going to be getting anywhere remotely close. The real target I'm going for is 33.6, set by a completely stock BMW M4. If we can beat that, I would be happy. It would be quite funny. However, that is probably the most likely. When we start getting to the serious cars that are in the low 28s, this is never never, ever going to have the grip to be able to fight with those. The only thing it might have going for it is sheer power, which I'm not sure is going to be enough. I'm not sure it's going to be enough up here, let's face it. This is designed as a place to, well, I say test handling, but you want a lot of grip going up here, and, well, this isn't going to have that. It's not the worst thing I've ever driven. That much is for sure, and that's what gives me, well, I'd say maybe a little hope that we can beat the M4. We're going to have a big old slide through there. Not really. Not really what we wanted, but we are through there. I say cleanly. We're through there without crashing into something, which is something at least. We end up a little bit on two wheels, I think, there. I'm turning in all sorts of wonky through that section. The gearbox is not amazing, I will be honest. It is not helping the vehicle all that much, but as per the rules, not allowed to modify or not allowed to tune the vehicles around here, and yeah, it's the same for everything. Don't know if I want first out of there or second will work. Okay, it's gonna be actually not a bad first run. It is not a bad first run. It will beat the M4, there is no question about that. We are in fact 3 seconds clear of the M4, 130.6. We're actually only a tenth down on the Mini. That would be an interesting / unusual turn up for the books if we could manage that. Don't think we're going to be beating the Lancia Stratos, however. Well, we're on to our second run for the Vandura. I think a pretty damn respectable first attempt, if I'm honest. Only a couple of seconds off what are the more sensible cars that have run up here. As I said, I'm not sure I'm really going to be able to do much about finding 2 seconds up this course, but still, for a big van, a big heavy van at that, I think that is, yeah, pretty good going. It isn't, I say it's not all that terrible to drive. I mean, we've got decent sized race tyres on the vehicle, provided you don't drive it like a complete tool. It is, you know, working pretty well around here, and of course that sheer power will help it to an extent. I don't really think I want to be sliding around all that much, but we're kind of getting away with it a little bit in some of these places. It's probably wasting a smidge of time, but we are at least getting the big van through the corners. I'm not going to run in flat through here. In fact, we can kind of run it in a little. It's not quite flat. We're going to run it with a lot of speed. We smoked the rear tyres a little bit, but nothing too bad. This transition is a little bit of a sketchy one. Second gear is actually working okay in this. I mean, first goes up to a mid-50s, I think. So yeah, we kind of want to leave it in second for most of this. In fact, I think we might get away with pretty much second the entire run up here. The engine, I mean, it has got a lot of power in relative terms to other cars, a lot of power, torque, etc. So we can get away with it a little bit more. Oh, that's a big slide up towards the first of our kind of final dual hairpins. One more turn to go for the big Vandura. Try and get the power down nicely out the other side. Don't waste too much time slipping and sliding around. It is, oh, it's a little faster. A fraction quicker. A fraction quicker that time out. A 130.3. We do beat the classic Mini. An unusual duel. It is indeed an unusual duel to have between a Vandura and a classic Mini. However, Vandura's come out on top, and I got one more try to go below a 130. So, we are on to the last attempt for the Vandura. Just 0.3 of a second is what I am looking for if we want to go below that 130 mark. I think either way it's going to be, it has been an impressive time set by the Vandura. Would always be fun to go that little bit faster. Not sure where we're going to find that little bit of speed, I will be honest, around here. That last run was pretty good. I mean, if we don't get the back end too sliding, we can get away with it a little bit in this. I think it kind of it smokes the rear wheels quite easily without actually losing too much time. Though there is not a place I actually want to be sliding particularly. It's try and be a little bit neater and tidier out of that one. Didn't want to end up running wide on the exit. It's a strange corner. You turn in thinking everything's going to be fine, and then you just run out of grip halfway round and just gradually understeer, or in this case kind of understeer while oversteering your way off the course. That's pretty much how the Vandura works. It's not got much grip. It's got more grip than you might perhaps expect, and we are throwing the Vandura around a lot, and I don't know if it's tourism. Like, I trust the Vandura. With cars like the Stratos and so I didn't really trust all that much. They get very unhappy when you start twitching them around and so on. And at least with this, it's consistent with its slipping and sliding, and I do, yeah, weirdly trust it more than the Stratos. Also, I guess the sort of longer wheelbase, larger vehicle, more weight does tend to make it a little bit more stable if it is starting to do silly things. Pretty much steered it with the back of the van for a lot of this run. I don't know whether it's going to be any faster at all up here. It's been, yeah, quite a... that's probably going to be a little bit too sideways from the Vandura. Out of the final corner. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to drive it a bit more aggressively in that one. Didn't work in the end. I think we had to try something. I think if I just kept doing what I was doing, I wouldn't have really made much time up. So yeah, I drove more aggressively on that last run. Didn't pay off. 131.7 in the end. Still, I am pleasantly surprised. I am pleasantly surprised by the Vandura's speed, if you like, up there. It's not a vehicle that you would expect to be happy climbing that sort of a course. And while yes, that power is good for going up hills, you got a lot of weight to lug up the hills, and B, a lot of weight to get around the corners. But the Vandura does admirably well. It will go into an 8th place. Okay, sure, it is lower down the table. It is quite a long way off the likes of the Stratos, the 850R, the Scirocco, and so on. However, it beats the 65 Mini by 0.2 of a second. It beats a standard BMW M4, and it very clearly beats the Iron Knight. So for what was a fairly silly vehicle, actually a fairly sensible, a fairly decent run for it. Yeah, surprisingly good. I'm sure all-wheel drive and a bit less power would be technically the way to go if you were going to build it. However, for the rules of this series, having to be rear-wheel drive is always a little bit more of a difficulty, perhaps, with this. Gearbox, not the greatest. Made it work, but yeah, not the greatest. That, though, is going to be it for this video. As ever, if you have vehicle requests, vehicle suggestions you would like to see run up this course, please do leave them in the comment section. The most liked comment will be the vehicle that I run next time out, provided it fits within A-class and it is something I can afford / have already got. That, though, is going to be it for today. We'll do some celebratory donuts in the Vandura. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, yeah, goodbye.